Coming up on the post-game show, we're going to break down Week 5. Aidan and Burke standing by. We have some business to take care of first, but some interesting games coming up in Week 6 as things start to shake out in the Rhode Island League. First, get your merch. Go on the store if you haven't yet. It's past the holidays. Who cares? Burke is actually wearing one of the shirts. Go buy it. Why not? Shout out to Freedom Braids, one of our sponsors. Realtor Paul Mirmina, a former player, and X-Golf in Stratford is back. So we love X-Golf. Hopefully we want to continue that relationship, as well as our two team sponsors, Lord's Army and A1. So you'll see posts about them. Shout out Papados. I almost forgot them. Some different sponsors all over the place. Check them out. We really appreciate it. But guys, let's get to the show.
Yeah. This is the Legacy League. Tell me where your legacy be. Yeah.
Week 5. I teased it earlier, in Rhode Island. One close game, an undefeated team almost fell, but didn't. The Washed Up Boys escape. And we'll start there. Aidan, Thompson, Burke, Mattey standing by. And Washed Up Boys by 3, 52-49. Take care of the halfway crooks. The halfway crooks had the ball the final 20 seconds, probably the entire last 20 seconds. Had a couple chances at it. Had our timeouts with the court issues going on, and I that's where you want to be. You'd be able to advance the ball. Couldn't get it to go. Aidan, you first. The halfway crooks battled. Still didn't make a ton of shots. I haven't even looked at the box score yet. Didn't feel like the halfway crooks, made a ton of shots. The washed up boys did. Their offense was rolling, but kind of another. We talked about it last week. Another one of those games that kind of felt like a playoff game. Both teams kind of going back and forth, trading blows, and it was the Washed Up Boys, Aidan, improving, let's get it right, to 4-0. They already had their bye, but 4-0, undefeated Washed Up Boys. How'd they do it?
This was the Kayshawn Harrison game. Excuse me, no Handel this week. So it was just kind of got into his role. I was sitting on the scores table, and Leroy's talking to me saying that he can shoot on 10 feet, and he's just getting ready to shoot on 8.5. And I think this is what they needed. Obviously, missing a player is not ideal, but you miss a player, other people step up, and Kayshawn stepped up. He made like what? He had six threes. I'm pretty sure he made 3 of those in the first quarter or first half, and then he kept going. As for the halfway crooks, just poor shooting as opposed to last week. If you look at the scores, you guys both shot 36 shots. The Washed Up Boys made 2 more, but they also made 5 more threes than you guys. So that was kind of the difference maker. I think your team's still kind of settling in. It's just kind of choosing the right shots. And, Charles went to the free throw line. He missed some crucial free throws, which happens. You never want to go for free throws on an 8.5-foot rim because it's so much different than anything else. But no, the Washed Up Boys prove that they're a juggernaut team in this league, even without one of their best players, and their guys stepped up.
You mentioned it. Fouled on a 3, down by 3. Actually, might have been down by 2 at that point, actually. I think it was down by 2. And made 1 or none. Either way, the next possession down, it was a 3-point game. I forget the total order. But, yeah, there was multiple chances, including the halfway crooks at the free throw line, with 3 chances, down by 2 in the final 2 minutes. You said Kayshawn Harrison, Mo Rainford as well with 13, and 10 of 27 from 3 is probably where they'd like to be. 38% is kind of right there, probably around the league average. 5 of 17 for the halfway crooks, under 30%. It felt worse than that. That's not where you want to be. Both team in the 40s, but definitely the Washed Up Boys shot it better, and crooks kind of controlled the glass, Burke. So, they had that going, right? We're able to kind of limit the Washed Up Boys to like one and done, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I just don't think the Crooks played the style of game that they usually play. They're a fast-paced team. They like to get down there and shoot the ball. Nick Lemoyne struggled. He shot 3 of 14, so he's going to see some shots fall more in the future. I think Jared Hansen needs to get up some more shots. I was looking, and he's 5-time All-Star, 3-point champion, so I think he needs to realize how good he is and take some more shots. I just think with the lowered divider kind of screwed up the game a little for halfway crooks, so they do like to get out there and running.
And I think exactly right. That was the key in that third quarter, right? A 16-8 advantage. Everything kind of flipped, and the game was still very close. But during that run is when the halfway crooks were kind of getting more pace, getting out and running. Terrence Gallo deserves a shout out for sure, and is always, I say it consistently, like I said it to him the other day, consistently like 12, 6 rebounds, and most of the time they're offensive rebounds and like 3 steals, right? And it's like every game. So it was 10 points, 5 rebounds, and it says 1 steal here, but he was definitely in the way of a lot more passes than that, right? So kind of right at what he normally does in providing that energy. But let's not, I know it's my team, right? And we love the halfway crooks on the show, obviously. The washed up boys, right? Another grinded out win. They remain undefeated without one of their better players. I think they would admit that, and just kind of, 8 of 13 from the free throw line for them. Found a way to get it done. So that's, what comes with being in this league, right? They did it a lot last season. They kept it up this season, and were really able to grind it out in a close one and make those plays, hit some free throws, take care of the ball. And like you guys said, it's funky, with the free throws. So credit to the washed up boys. A good game. Love to see him again, because that would be late in the playoffs. So that's the dream. But yeah, so shout out to them. Next up for the washed up boys, they get the RI Warriors, who fell also in week 5, but they've been trying to piece it together as well. And the halfway crooks get the Muffin Tops in week 6. Let's see where we're going to go next. Let's do the RI Warriors. We'll do it with the nightcap. We'll get to Lob City taking down the RI Warriors to also remain undefeated. 97-79. It is Lob City defeating the RI Warriors. Cody Crawford said it the best, and I think it's the story kind of anytime we talk about the RI Warriors. I'll let you guys talk about Lob City, but Cody himself said they're going to shoot a ton of threes, a ton of contested threes, and make a ton. And I think at this point, this is my first time looking at the box score, 19 of 44, so there they are, right in that range of that's where they need to be, 44 threes. They would obviously like to make more, but that's their game, right? They're going to hit contested ones, they're going to take a ton, and if they make a ton, they're going to be able to stay in the game. And they were in this game. I think that score's a little deceiving. Lob City, 5 guys, actually, I think. Right? They actually had a sub. Yep, Aidan, yes, yeah, just making sure I wasn't seeing things. Lob City's only had 4 a lot. They had a sub. Noah West was back noticeably. It's hard to miss him when he's on the court. But it is Lob City. So Burke first. Lob City, like I talked about, the mouse doesn't want to work, 5-0. So a half-game lead in the standings, but it's all going to even itself out, and they will play the washed-up boys, which is kind of the next game. Not next week, I don't think. A little while. We got a little while. Week 8, so a couple weeks, but we get that showdown at some point. But let's focus on this one, Burke, and how Lob City was able to beat the RI Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their top 3 guys this week: Almar Sabat, Noah West, Cody Crawford. 32, 30, and 29 points, carried the way for them. They had Noah West back first time in a few games. He put up a 5x5, which is unbelievable. He was blocking everything, stealing everything on the boards, efficiently shooting. If these 3 guys play like this, they're really, really tough to beat. I think Washed Up Boys will give them a run for their money, but, they were also missing Victor Cascio Jr., so when they get him back, they're going to have a fearsome foursome.
Right, and so that would be the 4. I was going to jump in, yeah. So that's the 4, right? Plus then anything they can get from, Josh Smith, new Josh, which is not fair, but Josh O. So they have 2 Joshes running around. And then, we've seen George Carly, if he's going to make an appearance, he's played in the league before and can kind of just fill in and protect the rim a little bit. So that would be a huge addition for them. But only 8 of 19 from 3. 35 rebounds. They won the rebounding, and they defended the 3 enough. Aidan, like Cody said, but not so. This is going to be what Lob City looks like. I was going to say a vintage Lob City win, and I don't think that's fair to kind of some of their teams of the past. But this year's team, this is how we expect it to go, right? Cody's doing Cody things. Noah's over there impacting the game every which way. You talked about the 5x5, so really quick to shout him out. 30 points. 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 7 blocks, 5 steals. So it never ends for Noah West. And then, Almar Sabat, another huge game, and I think this has been a great little run for him Aidan, as we've seen more from Almar with Dub or Victor Cashew Jr. not being here. Almar's kind of filled in and played really well.
Yeah, like you said, don't want to call it vintage, but this is the kind of play style that Lob City has this year. This is Cody Crawford at his best. Cody can be fine as a number one option, but he draws a lot of attention, and I think he tries to do too much, which is okay because you're the number one option. You get Noah West back, and you have Almar there too. This was a classic Cody Crawford game. Near triple-double, 13 boards, 7 assists, along with 29 points. He was all over the court. This Lob City team is going to be tough, even if they only have 4 to 5 guys, because they know how to play. And you're right, the box score is a little misleading. The Warriors were in this game for a while. I just think towards the end they were chucking up a lot of threes, not getting back on D, and Lob was just scoring pretty easily. But again, if once Lob gets their other guys back and they have 2 to 3 subs, they're gonna be the toughest team to beat, as they always have been.
I'm very interested, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. They might be like, and I'm excited. They might be like a sleeper pick, and I'm in on that. No offense to anybody else. The Road Dogs are the defending champs. The Washed Up Boys are very good, and kind of Lob City, kind of the 3 teams we've been talking about a lot. I get to take Lob City and not be the douche, right? This is awesome. You guys get to pick everybody else, and I'm just gonna rock with the vets in Lob City. So we'll see. It's going to be a very fun playoffs. A lot more basketball still to be played. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but I like what I'm seeing from Lob City. Next up for Lob City is a bye, so they get a little week off, and when they return, they get the showdown with the Road Dogs. So that's a great game to look forward to in 2 weeks. In Week 7, the RI Warriors next week take on the Washed Up Boys. So another big game for them as they fall to 1-4. Next, let's do the Road Dogs. Speaking of the defending champs, they beat the Air Mambas by 14. 103-89. The Road Dogs improved to 3-1. They now have the same record as the Cold Hearts, who were on a bye this week. So there's kind of your top 4. We've been talking about it. And the Halfway Crooks next at 2-2 have some separation from some of the 1-4 teams there. So we're seeing kind of things start to split themselves up in the standings. But the Road Dogs, led by Shaq Ardrey, Devon Bailey, 10-17 for him, so shout out to him. Kevin Views, only 1-2 from 3, so not like him, but constantly attacking, 20 points for him. And Rashid Sanchez, 15. So, really that balanced scoring, balanced attack, we saw it, and just, too much for the Air Mambas. There they are. So they're trying to pull their best Rhode Island Warriors impression, right? 14 of 47 from 3. Again, under 30%. That's not what you're going for if you're going to take 47 freaking threes, but that's kind of what they had to do. And if they made more of them, they would have been even more in this game than they were, because it got a little, around halftime it was a double-digit game. And they tried to put some stuff together in the fourth, but at that point it was kind of already out of hand. Aidan, the Road Dogs, Shaq Ardrey doing his thing, but another impressive win for this team, as I'm sure they're looking ahead a little bit, but the Road Dogs get the Cold Hearts next week. And so not a game to look past, as we talked about Lob Cities after that. But what'd you see in this one from the Road Dogs?
Again, similar to what I said about the Washed Up Boys, Road Dogs were without Kareem Cooper. Their premier, not best player, but their premier player is what I say, because they're all pretty good. Don't want to give anyone best or not best. But this is where Shaq Ardrey stepped up. I haven't seen too much of him this season. He's been playing well, 10 points a game pretty much. But this was his game where he just kind of went off. There was a little debacle with him and Anthony Lyons, but their team, and they're going to be able to come back. Kevin Views, he's had a rough last 2 weeks, but 70% from the field is incredible. And if he keeps that up, it's just this game to me felt like the Road Dogs are just going to show off about all their pieces that they have without having Kareem, because Kareem's their main guy, but, Shaq had 31, Devon 22 and 17. It's incredible. When he's on there with the court with them too, it's a different kind of team because they have that rim running big man and someone who's always going to be in the paint and can grab any rebound that they need to grab.
Kareem was watching the live stream, and he was commenting, so we love that. Even though he wasn't there, still very much in tune. I think it's fair to say, and I will debate anyone on it, their best player when you take into account offense and defense and his impact on both ends of the floor for this team, and probably just about any team he would be on because of his physicality and defensive intensity. I think he's a huge part. As this team looks to make another deep run, they're going to need him. I'm going to put Burke on the spot. I think, did I shout out any Air Mambas yet? Say Rosado with 39 and 11 threes, so shout out to him. Luis Ramirez, 16 and 8, and Mario Valerio also with 16 and 8 rebounds. The Air Mambas fall to 1 and 4, so there's 3 1-4 teams. We're going to get to the Gym Rats in a second. The RI Warriors we talked about, and the Air Mambas. Burke, putting you on the spot. It's only fair. Are the Road Dogs the best team in the league from what you've seen through 5 weeks?
It's a tough question. I don't know who's the best team in the league. I think the Road Dogs do have the best depth in the league just because they have the height of Del Butler, Devon Bailey, and Anthony Lyons.
Okay, but hold on.
But
that is political, Burke. Answer the freaking question. All right. In your opinion, that's fine. You can be wrong. It's all good. Are they the best right now?
No, they are not the best right now. I think it's Lob City. And when Lob City has all their 4 main guys, I think that's the best team in the league.
All right. Short and sweet. I think we're good. Well, we can always circle back around to some of these teams, but it's not to overlook this game, but we can talk about the same stuff over and over. I like to kind of put, we got to see where people stand. It's that time of the season, right? So next week, when you see Burke being berated by the Road Dogs on the live stream at halftime of their game, you'll know why, because he said that they weren't the best team, and they will let you know about it. I'm kidding. I will step in if they try to berate you. They will just make fun of you loudly from across the court, so you can be prepared for that. We talked about it. The other game was the Gym Rats getting their first win and defeating the Muffin Tops. 81-46, the Gym Rats. Brandon Whitman leads the way with 33 and 9. They shot 65% from the floor. That is 6 of 17 for 3 from them as well. So I don't know what it is in 2025 and even partially the end of 2024. Teams have shot it well. My teams, no. And here we go. We have some more teams, right? The Gym Rats, I'm sure, would have liked to have shot better than 6 of 17. But a big second quarter, Burke, you can kind of talk a little bit about the Gym Rats and even big picture for them, right? Some stuff you may have seen in this game that you like trending in the right direction as they get ready next week for the Air Mambas, which we talked about it, 2 1-4 teams. That's going to have a huge impact on playoff seeding.
Yeah, this was a big bounce back. Last week they played Lob City. Lob City kind of controlled the pace, only having 4 guys, and they kind of played the style that we want. And then Gym Rats this week, they played their style. They got out Brandon Whitman, super efficient, 15 of 19, 33 points, 9 rebounds. He is their best player, looking like an all-star, maybe an MVP candidate. Aidan Viveros played great. Cam Grilly with a bounce back with 12 and 7. I think they needed this win. And I think they could use this going forward, get a few more wins possibly to end the season, maybe knock off a decent team in the playoffs.
I'll put Aidan on the spot in a second. I'll be fair. We'll flip the script on Aidan. But Cam Grilly, I've talked about it. I just like his game. He's a big X factor for this team, right? You expect Aidan to kind of be consistent. Aidan Viveros, you expect Brandon Whitman to kind of be able to run the offense and get his what can Cam Grilly do, right? When maybe Brandon doesn't have it for a quarter or against a team that's going to maybe focus more on Brandon. Cam, we'll do it every week if we have to, right? What he did, this week was great. 12 points, 7 rebounds, impacting the game. That's it. He needs that every week. So shout out Cam. For the Muffin Tops, 21 for Matt Dagnall, Michael Berto with 11, and Frank Smith 9 and 9. So 1 rebound and 1 point away from a double-double for him. Aidan, let's just do it now. We talked about the 3 1-4 teams, Air Mambas, RI Warriors, and Gym Rats. Just to kind of keep the theme, where you can rank the 3 teams, you can tell me which team you like the best out of those 3 teams, but essentially where do the Gym Rats fall in that part of the standings of 1-4 teams?
If I had to rank them or just put them in general, I think the Gym Rats are probably the best of the 1-4 teams. That is this granted, this is their first one. They were 0-4. Hopefully this gets more momentum in. But they have a three-headed monster with Cam, Aidan, and Brandon. And Antonio helps too because he can make his threes. But it's just they need to continue to make their shots. With the Mambas, I think there's too much team discourse going on. It was a lot better this week. They live and die by the three. But it's what's going to happen. Same with the Warriors. But if I had to rank them, I think the Gym Rats and then the Mambas and then the Warriors. I just think the Gym Rats have a lot of potential. I know we're 5 weeks into the season. We only have 3 games left. But they have a lot of potential. They can squeak off 2 more wins, end up 3-5 if they lose their last one. But I think they have some potential.
All right, well, we're going to put more people on the spot. I will ramble for a little bit while I set this up, but we've already seen mine, your X Factor player that you like watching the most so far. I'll give Cam Grilly that from me, but both of you guys get to pick a player in 1 second after I name some potential candidates for you guys, so they get to scramble. They're nervous, they're shaking over there. But it's going to be your favorite player that, X Factor. Okay, so not one of the guys we always talk about, so sorry, it's not going to be Noah West, but some potential players maybe that I think deserve to be at least honorably mentioned. Luis Ramirez, right? Not always dropping the most points, but I think impacts the game a lot for that Air Mambas team. He had 16 and 8 in week 5. I like Rashid Sanchez and what he brings to the Road Dogs. I think that's a valuable option, and he's we saw it when they played the Washed Up Boys, how kind of valuable he was, right? Kind of a little bigger, able to hold his own on defense, was hitting some shots, so shout out to him for the Road Dogs. Listen, Joey Zocco's never a bad option. I'm kidding. You can give Terrence Gallo some love, or anyone. I mean, the halfway crooks are still trying to find that rotation. Right? I think almost all of their players, maybe minus Nick Lemoyne, could be an X factor for that team as they try to figure out a lot of their roles. We talked about Mo Rainford. Shout out Lyle Lowry, one of my favorite nicknames ever, and he loves it. So I made sure before I did that. But even Jeremy Altuve, right, who wasn't there, if you guys remember him, I think just for what he brings, kind of a bigger body, able to hit some shots, rebound, is a big part, and of course Leroy Brown as well. But he's borderline because of the role he plays on that team. Talked about Cam Grilly and Matt Dagnall, Frank Smith. I think is a big presence for the Muffin Tops when he is there for them. We talk a lot about Lob City. I don't even know if maybe Josh Smith a little bit for kind of what he brings to that team. Always hustling, always rebounding. And for the RI Warriors, Bezal Masood, Kevin Veter may not count. Mark DaCosta, I think, has kind of played his way too good, kind of maybe out of this category, but Henry Concalves has been an X-Factor player for almost every team he's been on. He's hit some shots this week, controls that offense. So enough of me. All right, Aidan Thompson, your X-Factor player through week 5.
Happy to say him. You were going to all the teams. I think it's Anthony Montecalvo from the Air Mambas. He didn't play this week, but the previous week he was subbed in, and as you guys are playing them, and he made all 6 of his shots. He made like 4 threes just back-to-back. And if you can get a guy that can just come in the game or even play 10 minutes, but is efficient from 3, can knock down the shots, I think it's Anthony Montecalvo of the Air Mambas, at least for me, because he brings some energy and they keep shooting and he's able to make his shots.
All right, someone I didn't even mention. I love it. Burke, who you got?
You mentioned him early on. I'm going to go with Rashid Sanchez. He's the 5th leading scorer on Road Dogs, so you don't see his name at the top of the box score every single time. But they have their guys that they're scorers, and Rashid just comes in and he's just he fills in that one spot that they need someone that can he'll crash the glass a little bit. He'll play the cutting lanes. He'll cut to the basket. He'll take his shots. He's just the perfect player for a team that has a bunch of great players, and he fills in. Not saying he's a tier below him, but he knows his role and he plays it very well.
I say it all the time. That's a big part of building teams in any league, but especially in this league when it's 4-on-4, you kind of need some of those guys that are talented but understand their role, right? And so I think he definitely fits that, and a lot of players that I kind of listed, that applies to them, right? Where maybe on their own team they might be scoring 20, but they wouldn't be as successful. And so on their current team, finding a way to impact the game in other ways while other people maybe do a lot more of the scoring. Exactly right. That's kind of the definition of an X factor. So great job on that, putting you guys on the spot. I think we're good. Well, 24, 25-minute mark. For Aidan and Burke, I'm Joey. That's week 5. We do have 4 more regular season weeks in Rhode Island, so some teams still have byes, but everybody will play 8 games, and then we'll get ready for the playoffs. And so like we talked about, some good games left, especially coming up in week 6 as things continue to shake out. Thanks, guys. Good job. And everybody, thanks for watching.